the application. The application has been changed and there will be no parking space and no access for cars into the schoolyard. So that's irrelevant now. The third that people raise is about extra traffic, which there might be a bit of extra traffic, there's no point pretending there might not. On the other hand, there won't be very much, if any, because the people who are going to be using this premise of the mosque are already using the Chapel Street Mosque, which is next door to this, across the back street. They are already using the Chapel Street Mosque, and therefore, if they are going to come in their cars, they're already coming in their cars and parking there. The additional people who will be able to use this mosque are the ladies, the women. At the moment, there isn't space within the Chapel Street Mosque for space for ladies. And it doesn't matter whether you think that having separate space for ladies is a good thing or a bad thing, it's nothing to do with it. One of the reasons why the larger premises are required and wanted is so that ladies can go there to worship, which they can't at the moment. I think that's true, isn't it? And therefore, but how many ladies are going to be coming in cars? We all know where the Asian, the Muslim population lives in Colne, and most of them are within walking distance. So the extra traffic is going to be minimal. It is next to its town centre use, where parking requirements don't apply in planning terms, and there are public car parks very close to the actual premises themselves. There's a little one at the top side, across there, and then there's the quite big one at Nelson Street, which is a long stay car park, and which, at the hours in which it will be required, if people do come to it, it's usually possible to park on there, because I know, because I use it. It's well used, but it is possible. So there is free public parking very close to the premises. And then the final thing that people have objected to is the design of the extension. You can argue about it, like all design. You can even quibble about details on it. But by and large, it doesn't matter too much, as long as it's decent, good design, because it will not be visible from outside, because you want them to see it over the walls. So, and the suggestion that was in the petition, I think, that it's proposed to replace the roof on the main building with aluminium is just not true, like a lot of things on that petition. So, I think that there are plus points. Bringing a Grade 2 listed building back into use, renovating it, giving it a local use for local residents in Colne, and doing it in such a way which will enhance the building, will enhance the area, and which is really not going to cause a nuisance to local people to any significant extent at all. The present mosque has been there for 35 years. When it was given planning permission originally, there was a bit of a fuss. There hasn't been any fuss whatsoever since then. The only fuss we've had from the mosque is when people in the mosque have complained about various noisy events taking place close to it, upsetting them, not the other way around. So I am, I'll hear what Councillor Foxley says again, but I am perfectly happy to support this planning application as it is.
I think we could go around discussing this all now and we're getting closer to moving. So I'm going to move with the condition that the glazing is extended around the corner as suggested by the conservation officer.
I'll second. have a proposal on the table for passing the application with the extension. With the extension, grass extension.
Well, no, I said I'd listen again to what Councillor Foxley said. I mean, if I am, yes, I mean, I am prepared to move. I mean, I'm not quite sure whether Councillor Foxley moved anything before Councillor Fletcher.
Councillor Foxley, seconded that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll move that we approve the application as it is put forward.
So do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Councillor Macbeth, you wish to speak, so I'll let you speak now and then we'll go back to the motion.
Thank you.
Okay. And Councillor.
The planning application before you is more than just a planning application. It's also a test of your integrity and your ability to listen to your constituents' concerns. The planning committee has recommended this application for approval despite a number of concerns which have not been adequately addressed and a huge number of objections to wider implications of what this application will mean. You can pretend this is not an application to open a mosque, but essentially is. Without the planning permission, this building will not be opened as a mosque, although technically it could be. There's an ideological argument. Whilst there are material planning concerns regarding this development, there is also wider concerns regarding the impact on the community the opening of a mosque will have. There is a view, which I feel that is largely held by the council, that Islam is a religion of peace. However, there is also another view that Islam is a violent and oppressive ideology, which must be acknowledged and respected even if you disagree with that view. The regressive left politicians are blissfully ignorant to the content of the Islamic holy book, the Quran, which is apparently the word of God and explicitly promotes domestic violence, intolerance of non-Muslims, gays, and death to apostates.
Councillor Macbeth, can I remind you, this is a planning meeting.
I know.
I'm listening to planning arguments.
I will.
Planning.
And condone other practices which are incompatible with British values. While most Muslims are peaceful, the ideology they promote is far from...
Chairman, on a point of order, can we ask that the speaker keeps
Read the Quran, read the Quran.
Read it.
It's a planning application.
Read it. So you brush it all under the carpet.
A few more sentences and I'll get on to
Brush
the
it.
material.
Oh, right.
Excuse me, this is my town here, I live here, and I love my town, so let's not fall out, please, thank you. Chairman.
Okay. Well, let Mr. Macbeth have his say, within reason. This is a
Yeah,
planning
sure, I'm
application.
getting
Okay, I'll remind you. The next time I will be asking you to leave, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. There are material arguments as well. Conservation is defined as protection of plants, animals, natural areas, and interesting, important structures, buildings, especially from damaging and human activity. This building is in the conservation area. It's a grade 2 listed building. Its preservation and conservation are key priorities. There are many questions and concerns regarding this development that have yet to be answered and addressed, and that's what I'm going to raise. First, and most significant, is that a number of local people put their names to paper to oppose this planning application. Pendle Borough Council website states, "We welcome petitions and recognise that they are one way in which people can let us know their concerns." Over 2,000 people have signed a petition, admittedly not all of them from Colne, the local area, which in any petition is a large number of signatures. For example, in December 2018, members of this very council, Jamie Hargreaves and Dorothy Lord, presented a petition with over 2,000 signatures to Lancashire County Council regarding the introduction of parking charges locally, and this petition helped overturn that decision. However, Neil Watson, planning officer, stated that the petition states a mosque should not be opened. It does not give any planning reasons. As such, I cannot afford any planning weight in a report that will go to the committee. Following this response, Mr Watson was sent the details of the petition, which clearly states a number of material planning objections. So it's a great surprise when Mr Watson said on the 1st of August, following the planning committee's decision to recommend it, the petition on its own is given no weight. The weight is given based on planning merits, which the petition lacked. Therefore, I must assume that the planning officer has disregarded the feelings of the local people, despite there being material objections to the petition clearly stated. I ask the council here today to the objections of local people and not ignore them because their viewpoint or reasoning may not align with your own. With regards to specific details of the planning application, heritage destruction, the boundary wall, the proposals include demolishing a historic wall and then rebuilding it after the works on site are complete. Partly rebuilding the original materials that are not the same age and consistent with the original wall will inevitably create distinction in the wall. It will look inconsistent with the rest of the boundary wall and will not have its aged patina to fit in with the site and surrounding area. It will be a rash collision of two different times being forced together, and it will leave an ugly and unsightly boundary wall. The planning committee states that this boundary wall adds significance to the whole composition. The flagstones. The owners have already previously been condemned by this council for removing and disposing of the historic flagstones in the courtyard of the site. Thankfully, speedy action ensured that these were recovered and relayed. However, this action shows a severe disregard for the specialness and listed building status of the site. The new extension will require removal of some historic flagstones, which again are part of the heritage site. What will happen to this historic item? Will it be preserved or used elsewhere on the site, or sold off as before? Style. Concerns must be raised about the style of the new extension buildings. The original church school building is made from asher stone with a slate roof. The new extensions would be stone and glass construction with a metal roof. Historic England's conservation principles, policies and guidelines state that new work or alterations to a significant place should only be accepted if there is sufficient information comprehensively to understand the impacts of the proposal on the significance of the place. In response to that, there has been no transport assessment or transport statement which would give an idea of how the area would be used by the local worshippers, and so we don't have a full assessment of the impacts and what will happen. Part B, the proposal would not materially harm the values of the place, which were, where appropriate, would be reinforced or further revealed. There is an argument to consider that using this building of one faith for another faith would harm the spiritual and religious value of this building. C, the proposals aspired of a quality design and execution which may be valued now and in the future. The design is very controversial. There is heavy objection to the use of metal standing seam zinc roofing, which is wholly out of keeping with the site and the area as a whole. This would have a significant effect on the look and feel of the heritage site and the conservation area. Despite assurances from the planning committee that the roof would not be visible from outside the boundary wall, I find that hard to believe, given there has been, well, what I've seen on the public plans, no height specification of the extension buildings, and the fact that Exchange Street is on a heavy gradient, providing more site visibility. A slate roof would be much more in keeping with the heritage site and the local area. As was in the case in the 1960s when the trend was to build everything in concrete, and we now look back at that and cringe, I fear that the same will happen with regards to this metal roofing, but by then it will be too late to stipulate any such changes. The site is a historic, and everything on it, visibly from the outside, is of the same age and style. A modern contemporary building, as stated in the proposal, would be completely at odds and in contrast with the original building and would ruin the historic feel of the site. Part D. The long-term consequences of the proposals can, from experience, be demonstrated to be benign, or the proposals are designed not to prejudice alternative solutions in the future. The long-term consequences of the proposal are significant in that it will destroy over a quarter of the historic boundary wall, reduce its heritage value by doing so, and the introduction of a metal roof without character in the rest of the site will also devalue the heritage asset. Policy EVM1 states that historic environment heritage assets of the borough include listed buildings, including aesthetic buildings, serve and where appropriate should be enhanced. Is a zinc metal roofing enhancing the look of this site? Historic England conservation principles, policies and guidance also state, part 153, the fact that a place is neglected should not of itself be grounds for agreeing a scheme that would otherwise be unacceptable. Therefore, just because plans propose to bring an unused building back into use doesn't mean a bad proposal should be accepted. To use a Brexit term, no deal is better than a bad deal. The Planning Committee report has proposed the extension would result in minor harms to the significance of the listed building in the conservation area. And that significantly bringing it back into use will be outweighed by public benefits and enabling the building to be put back into use. Public benefits are questionable when it's looking to be opened as a mosque, which is only open to Muslims on a general basis. There is a strong symmetry to the design, which is a key element of its significance. This is also in the Planning Committee report. This symmetry would be lost with the extensions, nullifying a key element of the asset's significance. Furthermore, the shape of the building, a cross, is significant with regards to its religious heritage, to Jesus dying on the cross. And this shape would be lost with the introduction of adjoining extension buildings, deteriorating its religious heritage further. Parking. Despite many concerns regarding parking, the planning committee has skirted around this issue and nonchalantly claimed there is plenty of parking for an unknown number of people who will arrive and leave around the same time. This is a gross neglection of duty by the planning committee. Everyone knows that mosques have prayers at certain times of the day, and that there will be a number of worshippers arriving together at the same time and leaving together around the same time too. No plan has been provided to show A, how many people are likely to attend or the capacity of the building, parking availability in Colne, traffic congestion at times of worship, car ownership levels within the local community, and a travel plan which is stipulated. Colne is already known for its gridlock traffic, and anyone local will know that it gets worse around 2 p.m. If we take a worst case scenario, take Colne's already log jam traffic, then say it's a Friday, people leaving work early on a Friday, then parents going on the school run, and the mosque call to prayer all around the same time will create havoc and use of rat runs, bad driving and inconsiderate parking. But the planning committee is blissfully overlooked this. The National Planning and Policy Framework, Chapter 9, in promoting sustainable traffic, says all developments that will generate significant amounts of movement should be required to provide a travel plan. And the
Mr. McVeigh, you've got 30 seconds.
Sure. There is no information for cycle storage, which Lancashire County Council or Highways said the revised layout plan should be provided showing the location of cycle storage is free. There are also bats. What will happen to the flagstones? Will there be a call to prayer? The police says there should be secure boundary treatment. What will this be? Will it be barbed wire? Thank you.
Councillor Bowler, what I'll do, Councillor, is to progress this because
Listen, I will not be as long as my two colleagues. Okay. For those that are outside this town, my name's Neil Butler. I'm on camera. Hey, I live here and I love my town. Okay? The councillors you see around here work so hard for this town. Don't know myself, 10 years ago, 6 o'clock in the morning, putting tents up in the rain for our community. We're there all day, 7 at night, we took them down. Didn't get paid. Young lady on the left here, Sarah Coburn Price, very posh. When I first met her, I thought, oh my God, she's posh.
What?
She was there at 6 in the morning, in the rain, putting tents up. That's just a little bit about me and
Looking at me.
town.
Can I come from Nelson?
So, a lot of things I want to say, but I'll keep it quick. That young man there, Neil Watson, is obviously the main man in planning. Everything that young man said, he's already addressed. This man does not bend in the wind. If we want something done, he won't bend. So I trust this man with everything. Everything. And to say that he doesn't take notice is ridiculous, young man. So, let me go to some idiot's petition. Okay, the idiot's petition was signed by 2,000 people apparently from all around the world. Letter. Okay, it was based on false information. False information. So how can you vote on something that just says, oh, that there's going to be a green dome, there's going to be loudspeakers? Total rubbish, and it annoys me that people come to our town. I like to say my town, so I'm proud of it. I would not let anything in this town do anything wrong to my town. Anything. I don't care what it is. I don't care what colour you are. I'll just tell you something now. God left my life 693 days ago. God left my life. So it's not religious to me. It's a school. And it's going to be a new mosque. No, it's not going to be a new mosque. It's going to be a mosque that's moved, and I did it with little feet yesterday, 15 metres it's moving. 15 metres. The same people that go there are going to go there. So all this idiot is giving information out that's false, and people are believing them. It's not right, it's wrong. I wasn't going to say anything until the young man spoke on his God. And now I feel it's my duty to my town. I will support this 100% because it's doing nothing wrong to our town. It's not moving anything to our town. It's bringing the building back that is falling to bits. And somebody asked me, because I go to the pub quite a lot, and people ask me, oh, what I'd have done with that. And I say to them, get you £250,000. give it me, I go buy the building and you put a bingo in there. Nobody wants to spend money on it. Only these people. We're going to call them Muslims. Call them what you want. Right? I read the Quran. I'm learning to speak Urdu. I also speak German and Spanish and Greek. I like languages. These people are doing nothing wrong. I was going to ask the police, if the police was here, I would have asked them a question. How many times have the police been called to the mosque? And let me tell you, none. None. They've been called none. How many times have they had a noise abuse? None. Are the neighbours around there? Any neighbours here? Are there any neighbours to the mosque here to complain? Are you a neighbour? Yeah, and does it hurt you? Well, one person don't rule the world. One person don't rule the world. So I do apologise for being a bit loud about the best, but I love my town and there's nothing wrong with this. Thank you very much.
Thinks he does, yeah. He's a rat. He's a rat. Honestly. Known him for years and years.
Oh, how do you call it that? Neil, I have to thank you for saying that. That has moved me. And I was going to say, when I came in here tonight, I was told by a lady who was very, very angry, we do not want a green dome on that building. Well, whoever in the right mind will put a green dome on that building? Please don't film me.
Why not? Am I allowed to?
He's a Nazi.
I'm not a Nazi.
Right, let's discuss this. Why is he a Nazi?
Why am I a Nazi?
Why is he a Nazi? Let's get this on film. Who's the outsiders here? Who's the outsiders?
Why am I a
Let's get to the
Nazi?
bottom of it.
Calm down.
Why is he a Nazi?
Why am I a Nazi?
The persecution, extermination of Jews. Let's explain this. He's called someone a Nazi. Let's get to the bottom of it.
If you're going to continue to speak...
No, he's called someone a Nazi. When do I get to speak? When do I get to speak?
You don't.
We don't.
No.
We don't.
Very soon I'll be phoning...
So what about this guy? He's called him a Nazi. What evidence have you got to back that up? So he's a Nazi because he was called...
Because I wear a Tommy Robinson t-shirt who's fucking gone to prison for child rape gangs.
Shame on you.
Shame on
you.
fucking you, pal.
I would ask you gentlemen to leave.
Yeah.
So why is he called
Hardly
him a Nazi?
surprising.
What does
Hardly
Tony Greaves'
surprising.
t-shirt have to do with extermination of Jews?
It's nothing to do with
But
me.
you said it was about planning, so why is he called him a Nazi? What's that got to do with planning?
You've invited somebody and it's happened. Now please,
We
gentlemen...
promote somebody. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shit, innit?
You saw how
You
to
know
touch the
exactly-
working
you know
class. You saw
fucking
how to
exactly
touch.
what's going on.
What about, you said, councillor, I forgot your name. You said about how Muslim area, why are Muslims segregated into a separate area? Why is that?
So
Why has
you're-
David Cameron said that multiculturalism has
you're
failed?
Obviously not here for this.
Who's the outsiders out of this
No,
town? Who's the
listen to
outsiders?
me.
Who's the
Listen to
outsiders?
me.
So I don't live in Colne.
Just get on with this.
He said Nazi.
Get over
You
it.
don't care what he said.
Get over it. Get over
I
it.
called him a bald-headed prick.
You're the Nazis. You're the Nazis. You lot are the Nazis. I'm from Colne. I come from Nelson. I live in Colne. Yes.
It's called alarm and distress.
Yes,
Call
from
someone a
Colne.
Nazi. You call someone a Nazi, alarm and distress.
My
It's
name
hurt
is
someone's
Councillor
feelings.
Moore, I'm the chairman. I would ask these
Got it
three
all on
gentlemen
video.
to leave.
Got it all on video.
They are,
Don't shout at me, please. Don't shout at me.
they are disrupting this meeting. They have started verbal
No,
abuse.
he
One of
called
the
him a
other
Nazi just for standing there.
Got it
It's
I
all
all
would
on
ask
video.
you to remove them. These three.
Sorry, we'll leave this.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
leave
you very
this.
much.
Think of your children and your grandchildren.
Yeah.
Well, bury your heads in the sand.
Over a million children have been raped by Muslim rape gangs in 30 years.
The council called him a Nazi. When I chirp up and say, defend it, why have you called him a Nazi? We get removed. He said nothing, he just recorded
And he
it.
called me a Nazi
Got it
just
all
because I
on
have
film.
this t-shirt
All on
on.
film.
Just this t-shirt, I'm a Nazi.
So I explained, can you explain why he supports extermination of Jews? I said, get out, get out. I'm going upstairs.
These
Got it all on
lads
film.
did nothing wrong.
Got it all on film.
How are you
Got it
doing?
all
You
on
alright?
YouTube.
Calling them a Nazi,
We didn't even speak, did we? We were just there. He said we're outsiders, outsiders. We come from this town.
Exactly.
We kept quiet.
You never open your mouth.
I'm getting on council. I'm getting on council. Oh, we're all the suit and all like that. Get rid of the
Yeah.
That's what we need, the people on the council. Not robots.
Meanwhile, causing anxiety married to a paedophile now faces prison, and these support it. And turning their battens on elderly women
But
down
they
the Middle East, down London, beating elderly women up.
They don't support it, they have to support
Following
it.
orders. The Nazis blindly followed orders. Will the police do the same?
Don't get yourself locked up, Dad, it's not worth it.
Bollocks. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
See you later, you take care.
Get that on Britain First, YouTube, Crime Bodge, the lot.
All right. Well, it's going on, yeah.
Well, I supported Tommy Robinson.
We all support.